Thank you.
You beat me to it, Lee.
Okay, so here is our one-to-many relationship. And in Rails, we're going to say this is a has many and belongs to. So yeah, there's these different kinds of association. There's a belongs to, has many, has one, has many through. But yeah, we're going to talk about the belongs to and has many today. So let's just look at this diagram right here. So yeah, like I said, a book has many, or sorry, an author has many books, and a book belongs to an author. So in our class, and the nice thing about Rails is it's going to make it trying to make it as like semantically nice as possible. So my class book belongs to author. If I had an author that has many books. So this is the code we write, but it's actually grammatically or semantically it kind of reads like it means it. So let's go into our database and let's create a note model. So I'm going to exit out of my my console, and I'm going to generate a model. I'm going to call this note. And then a note, what are we going to add for a note? Just some body. Okay. I'm actually going to make this a string, but okay, I'm going to get rid of that. So we're going to generate a new model called note. We're going to give it a body. It's going to say this is just going to be a string. And then we're going to give it this is how we create this association. I'm going to give it a contact. So this is the name of my other model. And I'm going to say, hey, this is going to belong to that. And then I can create my model. Let's go and look at our migration file when we created this model. So I have a t.string, that's a body. And then I have this belongs to contact. And now it's added these other things. So first of all, it's adding this is a validation on our database. So this is a way we're SQL saying, hey, this value cannot be null. So this is different than a Rails validation. This is a SQL validation. So it's saying, hey, if you don't give me a contact, I'm not going to save it. And then it's also telling us this is a foreign key. So what the foreign key means, a foreign key is going to be the ID of the contact. So a foreign key is an ID from another table. And let's run this migration to see what it looks like in our schema. And then that foreign key might make a little more sense. So I'm going to do a Rails DB migrate. Cool. So let's look at what this table looks like. So now I have a notes table in my database, which has this body field, which is going to be a string. And then it has this contact underscore ID. So this is the ID of my contact that it belongs to. And that's how in the database layer, that's how we relate these two things together. Because a note is going to have the ID of the contact. So I could pull a note, I could do note.contact ID, and then I could use that contact ID to actually go find the contact that it belongs to. But also Rails is going to give us some helper methods to make this very readable. So let's set up our association in Rails. So this is setting up our association in the database by having the ID here. But let's go to our contact model. And up here, I'm going to do this has many notes. And I'm going to do the name of the model. The model is note. But the trick to this is just keep it how you would say it in English. Like a contact has many notes. It's plural, right? If I say note, this is going to break. Like Rails is doing some stuff for us here, but I just have to say this has many notes. Just, and if you keep it like it is with the readability, it's going, that's how it works. And then I go to my note model. So Command P note. Now this was already automatically added when I generated my model. So this belongs to contact. And that's singular just because it's Rails convention, but this actually needs to be singular or it won't work. But just kind of think about it in English, like my contact has many notes. My note belongs to one contact. Cool. And with that, we've created this association between these two models. So let's just do one more. Just this one is the has many is really common. It's probably the most common association. You're going to use it a ton. But let's just look at the has one really quick. This one is definitely a lot less common, but let's just go ahead and do it. So let's say Rails G model address. Let's just do like an address is composed of like a, street. It could be a string. And I'm just going to, let's see, state. So I'll give you another hint here. We don't need, if the type of data is going to be a string, you actually don't have to clarify it as a string. It'll just default to string. So I can do a shorthand. And if all these are going to be strings, which they are, I can just create my address model with the street, which will be a string, state, string, zip, string, cities, string. But then this is going to be a contact. So my address is also going to belongs to a contact. So I can run my migration. So if I look at my schema again, there's my address. It has the streets, states, city, zip. Those are all strings. And then once again, it has this, what's called a foreign key contact ID. So the address has the way to go back to the contact that it belongs to. Cool. So let's go out in Rails and finish these associations. So I'm going to go to my contact model. So my contact has many notes, but it has one address. And that's going to be singular because we have one address. And then if I look at my address model, that belongs to a contact. Cool.
So just out of curiosity, when would you want to use the one-to-one? And not just put that info into, like in this case, why not just put all of that information into the contact model?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is, I would say for now, it's fine. If that's for now, I would do that. Like if you have a has one, so what he's saying, which is very logical, is, we have this has one association, so why don't we just throw all those fields into our into that user? And a lot of the reasons goes to a little more detailed stuff about databases. Like maybe down the road, I might want to handle multiple addresses. So, I'm kind of separating my database from there because that's going to be a lot easier to separate that. Another reason could be just keeping my user to just being a user and my address to being a user. It's kind of separating these data. It's, yeah. But for now, I'm just kind of showing you how to do the has one. But like you said, I would say this would be one you can skip and just throw it all in one big table. So let's now go see how we can work with this. So let's go step into our Rails console. Contact.first. So I'm going to grab my, let's just call this FC because it's going to be my contact.first. Cool. So that is Tony. Now something that Rails, this isn't very nice thing that Rails is doing for us. And since we've set up this belongs to and that has many notes, I can do something like this. I can do my first contact and I can call .notes on here. So I can grab all of this first contact .notes. Well, there's not anything on here, but this is actually returning in an array. And notice this SQL statement saying select notes. So it's doing a SQL call on our notes table. And it's saying, hey, grab all the notes where the contact ID is 1. So that's the SQL. So this is actually doing the SQL to get all that, my contact, that first contact's notes. Okay, so let's go in, let's try to create a note. So let's do note.create. So I don't have any validations on this, right? Or I didn't in Rails, but I technically do have one, but let's look at it. First note, and this makes a lot of sense because remember a note belongs to a contact. And let's store this to a variable. Okay, that did not save to my database, right? Because I don't have an ID. So let's look at these errors. Any guesses on what the error is going to be? Or, I mean, what do you think might have caused this error? Let's see, let's go look at the errors.full messages. Contact must exist. So when I look at my schema, and I look at my note, contact ID null is false. It can't, the contact ID cannot be null. Okay. So I need to come in here when I create a note. I need to give it a contact underscore ID. Now this is my foreign key. Now this should be an ID of an actual contact. So let's grab this. Tony has the ID of 10. So let's give it the ID, contact ID 10. Now that does save. So then I can get that first contact and call .notes. Did I not save that on Tony? So let's do this. Let's do contact .find 10. So there's my Tony. There's Tony. Let's try doing Tony.notes. And there it is. So I can use my note model to create a contact, or I can do Tony.notes. So notice this Tony is a contact, and then I'm going to do notes. And then I can do this. I can do create. Second note. So that creates that. That's another way I can create a note. See, I use an instance of my contact. My contact has many notes. So I can grab that notes, and then I can use the create method. Now this one, I don't have to say the contact ID because it's going to use the ID of the contact that's creating it. But it's really, the nice thing about this is really readable. We don't have to do any of this like SQL stuff. I can just say, hey, like Tony is my, he's my contact with ID 10. And then I can say, hey, get Tony.notes. That's how I can grab all of Tony notes. Or I can say, hey, get Tony.notes. And then I can say like, create a note with this. Tony.notes.create. So I can do Tony.notes. Well, let's go the other way. Let's grab my contact or my note dot first. F1 equals note dot first. So there's that first note. I can do first F1 dot contact. So I can take my note and I can say, hey, grab me that contact. So I can do F1 dot contact dot name. Oh, it's first name. We changed that. First name. That's Tony. So Tony.notes. I can grab Tony.notes.first. Let's just like go in circles here. So I can grab Tony, I can grab the notes, and then I can grab the first one. And then I can grab the contact. Well, that's Tony. I can like go in circles. Tony.notes.first.contact.notes. Well, there's Tony's notes again. Dot second. There's this second note. So I can just keep chaining these. Dot contact. There's Tony dot name or dot age. I mean, you wouldn't want to do this. That's kind of silly to like go in circles, but it's just kind of showing how these are connected. Does everyone see that?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah.
When you print out the whole contact, it shows ID, first name, age, etc., but it doesn't show a notes field. It's almost like the notes are kind of hidden. Is there a reason behind that? Does that make sense?
So when I print out a contact, so let's do like Tony, it doesn't have the notes on him. That's what you're saying, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of because really, as far as this is just a thing in my database. This is an entry in my database. And if I actually look at my contact, if I just look at my contact from my database, there's no information to get any notes about this if I'm just looking at my database. And because behind the scenes, that's like how this is working. Where the information is coming from is the notes. So the note actually has the contact ID. So that's how I can go back. So when I have a contact, the contact just has a first name, age, phone, and email. But Rails is creating this notes method. Like this notes method is created when we do this. has many notes. If I get rid of that, let's just comment that out, because this is an error you might likely run into. And like, I grab Tony. I'm so lazy. Okay. Contact dot first. So if I try to do Tony.notes, that's undefined. Because that's really what this is doing right here.
Okay, so notes is not inside of contacts. Notes is its own thing that is connected to contacts through association.
Yeah, really what this is a help, like this is like some Rails helper, magic for you. So this is going to create the association between, or this is partly how we create the association between our contacts and note. The note belongs to contact, and the contacts having many notes. But the other layer of this is in the database, is in our schema and how we set up our database. Right here, this is like the magic. This is how it's all working underneath the hood, is that my note has a contact ID. So we have these two different tables, but since my note table has the contact ID, I'm able to relate these two tables together. So if I did not have this contact ID here, this whole thing would not work. This is the most important part of this whole association. Because I can actually, like, if I know SQL and I know SQL, I really can bypass these. I really don't have to have those because my database is going to be associated, and I can come up with my own SQL to do this. But if my database is not set up properly, and it really is just having that foreign key inside of there, then there's no way to relate these. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
It's kind of weird to
Yeah.
learn it this way, because you kind of learn this, we're kind of glossing over the important part, which is the database. And we're using the Rails helper methods to make this easier when we start with this. So, which makes it easier, but then I think at the same time, it's a little bad because we're not actually understanding what's going on. So, but it's better than spending like a week trying to learn SQL.
Did you write the add foreign keys, or did those just come up?
Those were automatic.
Okay.
And that was when I generated them. Like I did the Rails G model, like note, or I did like, yeah, note. How that was generated is I did like, well, a note has a contact, and that is a belongs to. So that's how that knew how to like add all that stuff.
Okay.
It's not, the type is, it's a weird type. That's like a data type, or it's a type in, it's not a data type, but the Rails G model command knows how to handle that. Any other questions? Let's just look at the address really quick. Oh, no. So likewise, I can create an address. It has a city. I don't have any validations on this, so I'll just do a city. But that's not going to successfully, same reason the note didn't do it, because we need a contact ID. So I could do like contact.first.id. And now we have an address. So then I can say like Tony equals contact dot first. And I can say like Tony dot address. I mean, this is another reason why you might want to separate it into another table just for readability, like Tony dot address. And then I can get like all the address information, just maybe a little cleaner than saying like Tony brackets like city, Tony brackets state, Tony brackets zip. Just can maybe clean up your code too. So, and then yeah, I could say like address dot first. There's that address, and then I could grab the contact. So let's go in and kind of, I think one way to kind of learn these associations, or something I think that's, you know, can be good practice, is like writing a seeds file. Because writing a seeds file, when you have like associations or anything, this can kind of become like a little bit of a brain teaser. Like, because I want to like populate my data or my database with some fake looking data. So let's kind of do this. And one thing I'm going to do that always helps me is I just take my schema. Can like copy and paste it inside of here just so I know what my data looks like, and just comment it out. So if I ever forget like what fields I have on a particular table, I can just scroll up and look at it. Now we're going to make this like all loopy and nested, and so we can make like just thousands of contacts if we wanted to. But to just like some good practice would be like, let's just start simple and just get this working. So we kind of saw this in the console. So I'm just going to create a variable called contact1 or C1. This can be equal to contact.create. And let's go ahead. I'm going to actually grab Faker. And let's also like explore Faker a little more too, because last time I kind of just gave that to you. So I want to come up with the first name, but you know, I really don't want to like hard code these names, because what if I want to create like 1,000 contacts? Well, this is where we're going to use our Faker gem. Now, once again, this is where being able to read documentation is so important, because you can't really be expected to be like an expert in Faker and all the thousands of packages out there. You're going to need to really heavily rely on documentation. And it's also going to be things like, well, you're not going to be able to come to your notes on Neo and see how to use Faker. It's like you have to rely on those packages, you know, documentation. So let's go to Faker. And most of these are actually, a lot of the documentation you're going to find is going to be, they're going to be links to their GitHub. And then the documentation might even be on their GitHub page. And for example, this is how Faker does it. So here's the Faker library. I'm going to make this bigger. And yeah, you can come in here and like probably go in and look at the Faker code. It's all up here, but we're not going to do that. But then we come down here and then we have the README. So then we can look at their documentation. So I want to get like a name. Well, I really want a first name. So that's not quite it. But if I scroll down here, I can see there's all of these fake data things I can grab, like beer and blood. I mean, what the hell is blood? Oh, gives like if I want to get blood types, I can do that. I mean, there's a lot of like random stuff on here. You can have fun with. I like the Chuck Norris one. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm definitely gonna use the Chuck Norris fact. So if I want to get like some random text, that's about Chuck Norris, I can do that. So I'm just gonna like throw that in here. So I think I'm gonna use that for the notes. But yeah, I want to get name. Let's not get too distracted here. So like a common one is going to be like the name. So there's a lot of different options here. Name with middle, first name, middle, prefix, suffix. So I really just want a first name because that's what I'm doing. So I can take that and boom. There's my first name. What else do we have? We had email. So Baker's definitely going to have an email. Go back. Yeah, and this is in alphabetical order. So, oh, where's email? Email. fakerinternet.email. So for all of you that don't know, and this works on most apps, the Command F command, and then I can start searching for text. I want to find email. I mean, there has to be an email somewhere. And here it is, faker.internet.email. So that's what I can use for my email. Age. Just because we're using Faker doesn't mean I have to use Faker for everything. I'm still just in a Ruby file, so I can use Ruby code here. One way to generate a random number in Ruby is just a random function. And then I can say like, hey, start at 18 and go up to like 65. If you don't know off the top of your head how to generate a random number in Ruby, how would you do that?
Look it up.
Yes, look it up. I mean, I'm sure Faker might have some number stuff too, but yeah, I like that. Just using Ruby. Is that all we have? I think that's all we have for a contact, right? Cool. So then, yeah, so then I can do like a c1.notes.create, and then the body, and then this is where I'm going to use that. You know.
I don't know if it matters, but there's also phone.
Oh, there is phone. Okay, yeah. So phone. Let's just get it all. Just kind of showing off Faker. Phone number. Boom.
We had a date of birth too, didn't we? I think.
Oh yeah, I think we did. So let's do. I'm going to do cell phone. Faker.phone number.cellphone. And then date of birth. Let's see if I can find this one. Birth. A person. DOB. Human. Oh man, what would that be under? Any other things to search that you can think of? I'm
It
sure.
should
just
just be called
Faker
date.
date.
Oh, date. Yes, there you go. Date. Oh, there's got to be a date. There has.
Do they have
I
a
saw it up there.
security one?
I saw date up there
Oh, you did. Date.
right before you searched. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay. I guess I just spelled it wrong. Faker date. That's something we could probably also use Yeah, Ruby. I mean, this is actually 2 days ago. That's a Ruby method.
If you scroll down a little bit, there's a birth date.
Sweet. Oh, that's, and that's. Oh, this actually kind of brings up an interesting problem though. If we really care about this, depending on how realistic we want our data to be. So I have my date of birth, which I'm using, this faker, but then I have this random number. So those are not going to match. And actually, I need to make this 21 because we have our validation on here. But you get what I'm saying? Like, I might need to come up with a different, if I really care about my data being realistic, I would need to come up with some logic that maybe, hey, I pick the date and then I figure out how old someone is, because these are not going to match. But whatever, that's fine for now. Cool. So let's go ahead and let's also do an address. So city. Yeah, Faker, I'm pretty sure Faker has all of these. Address. Start. Street address, sure. Well, actually, what do we have? We have a yeah, so I need to look at my database again. So we have a street, state, city, and zip. Just do that for the street address. That's the street. And for now, I don't really care. I'll just do this and the city and just kind of stop doing this. But we could easily finish this off. We definitely have all of the info here. Except where is city suffix, sure, whatever. Okay. So this is maybe even more than I should have done, but let's go ahead and just test this out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my terminal. Where is my terminal? Oh, it's right here. It's squeezed up to the side. I think this is where it's nice to just be able to drop your database, recreate it, remigrate it, and seed it. Cool. So yeah, this is probably why I should have tested this earlier. I'm getting an error, undefined method name for contact. Okay, so that's probably use name instead of first name. Name. What? Okay. Let's see here. First name contact. What line is that? Line 40. So it's somewhere in here, I think. First name, email. You have first name on there, okay.
Is there an issue because we changed like the attribute to be called first name, but notes is still asking for name when it like references them together?
Is it
Like
at,
if you look, like if you look at the create table for notes and then the create table for contacts, the string is first name in the contacts table, but then the last item in the notes table references name. And I don't know if that matters.
in the
Yeah.
in the schema?
Yeah,
So I have contacts first name. Oh, you're talking about this name.
yeah. I was
Oh,
just wondering if that
oh,
could
yeah,
possibly
yeah.
be breaking it.
Now this is something, this is what's called an index. It's helping us look up stuff faster. So that's
Okay.
just the name of this field. So,
Okay,
yeah.
my
That's what,
bad.
no, that's good. I didn't see that, but yeah, that's once again overloading words. Name is the most overloaded one ever. But yeah, that's not the same thing. Because in my contacts, I do have the first name column because we did change that. So that's there. Where this is, let's see. I'm going to throw these all on new lines. Is it our validation? Ah, there it is. It's our validation. So I switched my, when I switched my migration file, I switched it from name to first name, but I didn't, I need to switch this. I don't know how we didn't catch that. Oh, I guess I did the validation after. No, I did the migration after. Okay. So hopefully that's the error. Cool. So I need to go in and validates first name. Yeah, name's not defined there. Cool. So this is a different error, which is always good. At least we move past that error. Line 43. So this is like slap on my wrist for not doing this one at a time. But I think we can figure this out. 43. Let's see here. Undefined method create for nil class. Okay. So what I think is happening is this is not successfully creating because C1 is nil. So let's put C1. And then let's put C1.notes and put C1.address and rerun this. C1.notes. Why don't we have notes? Oh my God, did I? Oh, wait, I fixed that. Let's do this. Let's go back to VS Code. Go back to our seeds file. I think I can put a binding.pry here because this is where it's breaking. I'm pretty sure I can do a binding.pry in my seeds, but let's see if we can. Because really, I don't know, like, I don't know why notes is nil. That's what's going on. C1.notes is nil. That shouldn't be nil, but let's throw in a binding.pry here. I don't really need to drop this. I can just run my seeds file. Cool. So now I'm in my pry. I can see C1. Cool. C1.notes. Okay, so that's C1 notes dot create body. That's working. C1 address dot create. I mean, I don't have any validations. Okay. C1.address. Okay, so there's my nil. So C1.address is not defined. Has one address. What am I doing wrong here? Did I forget something? So yeah, so if I, here's the error. So address is nil. So if I try to call create, there's that error I'm getting. Can't undefined method create on nil. But my problem is the address, like I don't have my association set up.
Why are you in the terminal for this? Is this like, is this the program that you're running?
Yeah, the reason I'm in the program is because like it gives me a way to test it. I don't have a UI for this right now. We haven't done any React stuff. So I mean, coding really like can be really hard if we don't have the terminal, because how would I be testing this? How would I be like finding these errors? So that's why I'm doing this. Like, I'm just trying to get my database set up.
Is that what you're working on as a database?
Yeah, I'm really like my models and my associations. So I'm trying to get it so I can do contact.first.address.
And that would be for a user to see is what you're working on?
Yeah, I want to just what I'm trying to do right now is I'm just trying to seed my database with some fake data because I don't have the UI. So I'm trying to come in here and seed that. But right here, C1.address does not exist. Do I need to create one? So I can do like address. Maybe this doesn't work this way. Contact ID 1. Yeah, the address is set up there, but okay, I guess it doesn't like me doing that. Oh, okay. I know what I have to do. So this is a little difference with the has many or the has one. I kind of forgot about this. I haven't used the has one for a while. So I actually have to, I grab my contact. So C1 equals contact.first, uppercase C contact.first. And then I grab that and I don't do like I do with my notes, because with the notes I do contact one.notes. But if it's a has one, I do this create address method. And then I can throw that in here. So I think if we, that should do it. This is a different error. This is good. C1.create address. Let's do contact last. There we go, because that one already had an address. Okay. So sorry about that. What I need to do is instead of address.create, and this is just a rel thing because it's a has one, it's create address. Okay. So this is like I tried to do this all at once. Would have been better if I had just, so this would be a good way, a good reason to use the console. It's because it's easier to test this stuff out in the console and get it working in the console than it is to like try to write a whole bunch of code and then debug it. So let's try this, and then I'm going to slack this all out once it's done, but now I can do a Rails DB. Let's just do our DB drop, create, migrate, and DB seed. Fingers crossed. Yay. So now I can go into my console and just to like see that that worked, be like contact.first, contact.first.notes, contact.first.address. Cool. All right. So now I have this working, but that's only creating one contact that has one note, that has one address. Let's get a little, let's start using some loops. So Ruby has the nice times loop. This is the best loop ever. 10 times do. End. So this would go through, this would create 10 contacts. For each contact would create one note and one address. And I could even run this and test that out. Exit. So now I'd expect my contacts to have 10 things in it, my notes to have 10 things in it, and my address to have 10 things in it.
Are these just placeholders? Like, it's obviously not like all the names and emails or anything. It's just like 10 placeholders is what you're saying?
Yeah, because a lot of times when you're like developing, you don't have like real data, but you want data because like you might want to like create a UI because like how am I going to handle 100 contacts? So you want this, you want the actual data to like kind of test to make things working, but it's just going to be fake. But you also want it to look realistic. Like you want your age to be a number. You want, you know, your phones to look like phone numbers and your emails to look like emails. It's just going to help you in development.
So did you make all of this ahead of time, right? Like
I'm making it right here. So I'm able to, I'm kind of using my seeds file and the faker gem to go through and create this, you know, this fake data. Like I can like go to my address .all, and you know I have like these 10 addresses. This is all fake data, but they look like, that looks like a real street address.
so that faker gem knows how to generate things like names and streets and stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if I'm calling like this faker address city will give me back a random city name. So there's a ton of these methods that just give me back this fake looking data. Like if I want some latitude and longitude, I just called, this is just like a method.
And you put those fakers in your gem, correct?
Yeah, so I have my gem file. That's how I'm able to use faker is I add it here. And now in my seeds file, I can require it and now I can use it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, something else I might want to do is I want my contact to have more than one note. So inside of here, I could nest a loop. So maybe I want each contact to have 5 notes. I still only want them to have one address, so I'm not going to throw that in. So 10 times, let's just kind of go through this loop. 10 times I go in and I create a contact and I get all this fake data and a random age. And then with that one contact, 5 times I go in and I create a note. So I create 5 notes for that one contact. Then I create the address. And that was just for one contact. And then I repeat this loop 10 times. So how many notes in my database am I going to have after I run this seeds file?
50.
Yes, 50. Because I do this loop 10 times and then I do it, create 5 notes 10 times. So 5 times 10 is 50. And then let's quit. Exit out of here. Rails DB. I can just, yeah, drop my database. Boom. Now, as I start to kind of get like a big seeds file, it might take a second to seed it. But yeah, if I go into my Rails console, note.all, .size, there's my 50. And then I can do something like contact.last. There's my last contact. You know, it's got some nice fake looking data. You can grab their notes. We got all those like Chuck Norris notes. Chuck Norris doesn't need an OS. These ones are so funny. Chuck Norris is immutable. If something's going to change, it's going to have to be the rest of the universe. These are like coding jokes. These are so good. Man, this one, Chuck Norris doesn't believe in floating point numbers because they can't be typed on his binary keyboard. Oh my God. Oh, those are good. Okay, anyway, sorry. But yeah, if you all of a sudden you want to have a ton of data in your database, boom. Boom. Now you're going to have like 5,000 notes. You're going to have 100 contacts. And it's as simple as just like changing these numbers. So then you can have like a ton of fake data and you can really test your UI that way. So let me Slack this out. Any questions on this? I think these seeds file are like good little practice brain teaser type stuff. They can be hard at the first to learn how to write, but it's a lot of good practice. All right, I'm also going to do, I don't really think there was much on as far as code on GitHub other than the model, but I'll still push this up to GitHub. So you can have a reference to that. Where's my repo? But yeah, that's all I have. I mean, that's a lot, but any questions? Or are you just dying for lunch right now? Dying for lunch, I'll take it. Cool. Let's see here. Let's call it 2 o'clock. Let's just come back at 2. Give you a little extra time since we went a little extra late. Come back at 2. The homework is just essentially going to be, I think, just what it was, very similar to yesterday. Just giving you more practice with, you know, generating a model and doing CRUD actions on models and doing our CRUD actions. So hopefully this time around today, maybe the models section makes a little more sense. You can try to do a seeds file this time, that kind of stuff. But yeah. And tomorrow we're going to do the has many with the controller, which kind of complicates our routes a little more. But
What's a has many again?
the has many was what, like a contact has many notes That's like the association between those two. Because today's the first day we kind of saw two models, and then we actually related those two models together. Cool. Should I go over the homework right now? Or do you just want to take lunch?
Yeah, going over the homework would be good. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like the homework for today.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let me just do that really quick, and I'll release it. So for those of you who want to maybe start looking at it, you can. Okay. So here it is. Yeah, you're going to do a user app. So just create a new Rails app. Just do your setup. So you're going to have a user model. And they're going to have name and age. And you determine what data types you think those should be. And then you're going to do your users controller with all the CRUD actions. So yesterday we asked you just to do like the create and read. Today, I know this can be a lot. Try, maybe if you just do the create and read, that's fine, but maybe try to get all of them done. But like I said, with this, really focus on completion. Like if you just get one done and you get the create done, but you get it all the way done, perfect. Don't like start working on half of these, like get them halfway complete. Start with like do one action at a time and get it working, and then move on to the next one. Yeah. I'm actually going to get rid of this dry code because we really haven't I mean, you can look at this, but let's throw this in as a bonus. Cool. So yeah, it's essentially just like yesterday. You're just going to have a user model with name and age, do the CRUD actions on it. Cool. Any questions on that? Let me release this. Need to change the date on this. We'll have this one due tomorrow because I want the next assignment's going to be doing a complete has many through, and I want to give you 2 days on that assignment. So just get as far as you can with this one and turn it in the morning. Cool. Sweet. Well, that's it for me. I'm going to stop talking. Have a good lunch.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you.
You.